Hi, folks. Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Now, before we get into it on today's rather special show, we are going to have to pay the same bills we always have to pay. First and foremost, putting a shout out to our good friends and supporters over at that's the donations link. Sorry, wrong link. IndieCD.org, your one-stop shop for the best and the brightest authors, artists, musicians, and other creatives. If you're looking to find someone to hire to do something for you, be it editors, flatters, musicians, comic book artists. If you have a dream you want to get made, this is where you can go to find the people. And if you are one of those creatives who is stuck in a world where AI is being promoted and major billionaire types seem to be using social media to crush you out, consider joining the Independent Creator Directory. It's a great alternative, and it is a wonderful, wonderful program that I'm proud to be part of. You only pay a one-time fee, normally $40, but right now, as of viewing, it is on sale for $30. And if you use Podcast One, secret code Podcast One, you can get that for half off. That's right, half off. We are also, of course, made possible by sales of the Simple Sword, the Fighting Axe, and the Simple Spear, all part of our ongoing series of Western martial arts manuals designed to help you go from having never handled a sword to sharing the art with others. Now, hey, folks, today is a very special day. Today is not a normal broadcast. I do not know how long it will be. But today marks the 5-year anniversary of me streaming this program. So if you will permit me, before I get into the comments and things, a bit of a walk down memory lane to a place that was rather unpleasant. What happened was this, and I've used to use this channel for mostly some product reviews and some and just recording and making the sparring sessions that we had visible so that my students could come back and review, and I could come back and review our performance. I wasn't expecting much in the way of viewership, but it was there as a tool. And if anyone else was interested, cool. But in 2020, actually the end of 2019, the lockdown was coming. I had moved 100 miles away from my friends, roughly, and my family, and I wanted a way to cover the distance where I could be here to support them and other creatives. Well, sorry, I'm still in the mindset of my other program. The other people looking to study the martial arts, the fencers, the swordsmen, and sword ladies, and sword whatever you want to call yourselves. And as an open forum to discuss ideas, to exchange techniques, and make evaluations through video. But most importantly, to be a place of support. While that I think was mostly achieved, this little program grew into something else. It grew into a relief for a lot of people to goof around and have fun with learning sword fight and what videos you see, and occasionally, having to watch me suffer through either really, really bad fantasy armor or equally miserable, Bud K junk swords. But we've had fun, and through this, I've been able to keep in contact with some truly great people that I've known all over the world. And just like my book, which I'm not plugging right now, as like, this is not continued ad, but this pops up and I'll see a sale in Australia or India or Canada or England or Germany, wherever. And sometimes in other countries that getting martial knowledge due to the poverty of the area is difficult. And the great thing I get to see is in a couple weeks, I'll see a little spurt of, 2 or 3 more copies sold in the same country. And when that happens, I know what happened is somebody bought the book, was reading it, and they're working on what's going on. And they have friends, perhaps students, and they've seen it and gone, yes. That means elsewhere in the world, I'm helping people build on the dream that made me. The crazy idea, why can't I do what the wonderful characters I love do? Why couldn't I be Zorro or D'Artagnan? Okay. Perhaps more Aramis, but that's neither here nor there. The point being, I wanted a volume that could help people chase that dream and help writers write better. Something that was accessible for people of all ages and builds and races and creeds and beliefs. If you want to learn how to pick up a sword, you can. And part of the meaning of that is the fact, sorry, I need to get my hair put away. It's getting way too hot. Is the fact that I still needed to reach my local friends and students, make sure they're doing okay. Chat about gear, keep people appraised. And this became a venue where I could do just that. And it's allowed me to work with and meet some great people. There are many people who are in the chat likely right now that I wouldn't have possibly known had I not been doing this show every week. So I am incredibly grateful to you guys. And while I did want to take today and just sort of comment on that, I wanted to put that out there, that yes, we've been meeting like this for 5 years. Now, a lot of the people who the show was originally dedicated to are not currently watching. They'll catch it in the rerun. They're in assorted social groups, and it is Friday night. And a lot of people have things that their life dictates that they do on Friday night. But what was told sword mastery for shut-ins is still doing good. And that's important. It's important to do good. It's important that you are more than simply someone learning to swing a piece of metal around. Because I believe to offset the potential karmic debt of teaching someone an art of applied violence, I am obligated philosophically and morally to give something to temper even that. It's why I retain certain and have developed certain medical knowledge, and it's partly why I focus on philosophy as often as I do. Because for me, the mythos of a sword compared to that of a firearm is a sword can defend. A martial weapon, a melee weapon, can be used defensively. A firearm is solely threat by intimidation, threat by intimidation, and counterattack. It does whatever make, model, style they do one thing, and they do it extraordinarily well. They cause a small detonation that fires a usually lead projectile at very high speeds, and it puts pieces into other people. You can't block with a gun. Training in the different arts allows a gradient. That was a gift for Joe. A gradient of response, a spectrum, if you will, that you don't have without that kind of training. It's the reason, part of the reason why I walk usually with a staff or stick, but not a sword cane. I want to do the minimum damage possible to someone, even if they're attempting to hurt me or harm me or mine. I don't want to do excess. And for me, the sword, the pursuit of the sword has never been about hurting people. Before I studied the sword, I knew how to hurt people. I had learned through necessity the means of applying pain and damage, and through other resources. And I carried with me a tremendous anger. And I took the sword to learn how to control it. Not to let it loose, but how to focus it and shape it. So it wasn't about catharsis. I have worked in the last, going on 25 years of working with swords and teaching people right out the gate, long before I should have been, helping teach people. The reasoning has to be behind it. It's important to read The Art of War, but I also believe it's important to read The Art of Peace. It's important to understand that. And I can't, in no other format could I have this kind of conversation with people. No other way could I broadcast out a very strange message that you have the ability, regardless of your condition, to do something, to pursue the betterment of yourself, and to achieve the dreams that others may have not only said were impossible, but almost worse, scoffed at or punished you for being impractical. Life is not always about practicality. Survival is. Survival is all about practicality. But life is about balancing the practical and the frivolous. It is about staying grounded as you move and recognizing things as they come. The situational and tactical awareness I talk about, while primarily focused on seeing and neutralizing potential negative threats, can and should be harnessed for seeing and recognizing opportunities for good. Opportunities to help people, opportunities to speak out. and to speak the truth. It is my hope, friends, in these 5 years of this broadcast, and again, nearly quarter century of training, along with the skills of how to parry a blade and how to keep your tip on line and not trip on over your footwork, how to evaluate your opponents and fix your gear, that somewhere woven in that mess of bizarre skills grows the ability to recognize your own worth, the confidence to look someone in the eye, the undying and eternal hope that I hold that everyone who's had their power taken from them, and I don't mean power over others, that's irrelevant. I mean the power over self through trauma, violence, or other such things that I don't want to get into details of, but that they can regain that. And I believe fundamentally that through martial study, we can. And it's because I have. I've had the privilege to speak with wonderful people on here, and I've had the privilege to train with and just train some of the most amazing folks I think on the planet. And some of them are still in my life, like Trey and Joe Bachman, and some are no longer with us, like Ben Starkey or Kidson Windsor. Some have reached levels of skill and opportunity that I am in awe of. To know that at some point, this little, what I do has given them a footstep. I don't claim their accomplishments. I applaud them. Because that's all I am trying to do. Now, it's 5 years later, and there's a good bit of deja vu going on, folks. And I've had people reach out to me. And some of them are scared, and some of them are angry, and some of them are sad. And they ask me, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to be safe? The sad fact is, especially with my own health issues, I can't protect everyone. I never could, but I really can't these days. I can't keep the people I love as safe as I would. But what I can do is offer what training I have in survival, what training I have on the field, and hope that that can neutralize or be used to neutralize not just the threats from external, but the threats from within. The enemies of things like depression, rage, PTSD. We live in a world where the treatment of the body and mind are separated in a huge gulf. And the treatment of the spirit is not even discussed. But there are places, and among them certain martial arts, where one may treat both. And through this program, I've been able to reach out and help some people do that. And I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity. I've ignored the chat as I do during my opening monologues on any of my shows, either here or on the sister network to this, the Nicholas Tucker channel, if you're watching from the Historical Fencing Guild channel, or over on the Independent Creator Directory channel, where I also mirror my stream so that you guys can watch it there. It all exists to help get information out, and I am working on some new projects to do that. I did not anticipate what they were going to find when they looked at my spine, as much as they already have sort of figured out. And in, I want to say February, I get to start physical therapy for it. But it has impeded my ability to do several of my projects. And I want to thank each and every one of you who watches this, because while I couldn't use my hands well for a time, and I couldn't move for a time, and Lord knows how long my back is going to let me do some other things, I was able to still be of use. And I don't think anyone here fully grasps how important me being of use to me is. If I'm not of use to others, I have problems with that. So thank you for that opportunity and giving me the time to address any questions you have, or help you find information, or tell you I don't know the 3 hardest words to say online. But it didn't happen overnight. And while all this, the mess behind me and works in progress, it did happen. And putting in the hours and doing it right is the best way. So, now that I've finished my prattle for a bit, and I'm pausing to thank you all for tuning in, I'm going to go hit the comments, and we'll see what you guys have to discuss. Honestly, I'm not good with calendars and dates and things. I received a notice that today was the 5th anniversary, very late in today. Actually, no, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. Or when? No, it was Wednesday, because I was talking to Joe. No, yeah, that was yesterday. It was yesterday because Joe was asking if he needed to cover this episode. And I said, no, Joe, this one I kind of have to do. But, yeah, let's get to the comments. I'm a little distracted. And I need to appreciate you guys and appreciate the wonderful Patreon folks who make this all possible. And first through the door is Foxy saying evening and congrats on fun 5 years. Thank you. I think I am at 12 or between 12 and 15 broadcasting on YouTube. 5 years of this program. Yeah. Many congratulations. Thank you, Thesis. And evening, Trey. Hey, Trey. And happy 5-year anniversary. Thank you, Trelana. Hey again, fam. And evening, Sarah and Blade. No wrench for this one. Wasn't sure till now. All good. I will get that fixed shortly. Because right now, apparently Trey doesn't even have a wrench for this one, which is ridiculous. But thank you. There's always more work to do. So yes, oh, it's epic, Nichols. Thank you. And hi all. Hello, Kitty. Hey, Kitty. But I can't be away to be around diversity again. I need it. I understand. Internet is great for that, Sarah? Or if you hadn't been in the chat when BKM was passing the torch. Yeah. Try living in Utah, sir. Not much diversity out here. And yes, I miss in person. I get that. Same. Happy Friday, Cindy Cap. How are you? Okay. So what are opinions on chain link compared to wooden fencing? In this case, we are a Western martial arts organization, Oliver. However, I prefer wooden fencing as it does provide better privacy. Every once in a while, we get a comment on the misunderstanding of the fencing. I tune into this channel tonight. Yep. Sarah says I did work in University of Inventions that drew people in from all over the world, and since then I need it. Been several years without back. You will love where you're going. Well, wooden has more privacy. Sorry, I'm a brat. No, that's where I went. Wood is far more historical than chain link. Agreed. Wood for privacy, and it won't work. And watch out for those splitters where they end up. This happened. U of I Health Center one Saturday. I was working there, but it was more of a massive shield check. Wow. Less chance of tetanus. Man, 25 years ago wasn't that long. Time is going way too fast. It really is. Sure does. So looking forward to doing the same. I know I've been here for at least 4 of the last 5 years. Pretty sure I started coming in Friday live streams in the winter of 2020. I can look it up. I don't honestly know. But I do appreciate you being here, Thesis. Sarah says, I started at NTF, then branched out in so many directions. I couldn't get more information absorbed from my wanting. Okay, well, we're happy to provide it. And as always, if you or anyone else have questions, feel free to ask. Simple swords fight axes with simple spears, and that is the link to my Amazon store where you can buy my books. Thank you, Cindy. Right, there are times when people have to take care of themselves. That's a heavy weight to carry. And yes, the way you are doing that resonates the most with you, and that's what matters. And thank you. Sarah's talking to Cindy. Hey, Cindy, twice in one day. Woot, hearts. My 1-year anniversary at AMC was the 18th. I'm not sure how I feel about that right now, but it's gone fast. Time has... Happy anniversary to you, too. Time has really flown by these last few years. And no rush with the wrench. Just wasn't sure until I came in. No, I'm sorry. Like I said, I will get that fixed. I want you to be able to share links and things too. And Kitty says, one of these days, I'm going to get my student roommate Ruby in here to ask questions. She's a total beginner. I think this channel would be useful to her. Well, she is more than welcome. You also have like my email and assorted other means of contact if she's not comfortable with the YouTube-y thing. I just want to help folks reach the levels they're aiming for. And Sarah, I saw something earlier at Walmart that you might like. Okay, that's a little off topic, so we're not going to do that. But I have been noticing some things. What was I was looking at? There are some new new trainers coming out that look promising. A couple new companies are trying to bridge the line between what I would consider HEMA gear and LARP gear. So it's really interesting to see how that's going to mechanize out. how that's going to manifest mechanized. Oh god, well, mechanized, that's not totally off, but because there is this odd gap in, yes, fake steel. Thank you, thesis. In the things. And before we go, Rex, congratulations on 5 years of broadcasting. Thank you. And that's just this program. I think like I said, I think I have 12. I'd have to go look. But this is a great opportunity. So in 2024, I'm going to be reviewing and checking those for price availability, and if they are reasonable price, I would love to order them, because the fact that they're making trainers, what I consider the plastidip technique, where they're sealed compressed foam trainers that have accompanying historically appropriate. Oh, so it's out of Czechoslovakia. Thank you, thesis. Sheaths built around them as well. I am fascinated because we don't see enough people training from the draw, and it just isn't discussed because of the sportification of what we do. And I have no problem with the sportification. In fact, I think there's been some great leaps and bounds made in the technology of what we do because of the sportification of armed combat. The first thing that comes to mind, especially with Rex here, is the fact that the assorted pistol grips have been developed for Olympic fencing. And the different styles of grip allow people who may not have the dexterity to do things much more dexterously. And I'm still very pleased to have found a company, and I don't have the links on me today, but that is making at least one live steel sword with a modern grip attached. Visconti, yes, Visconti grip for the wins. And I'm very, very happy to see that, because that's going to include a lot more people from the modern fencing world into the live steel, and perhaps into the past a bit, because one of my pet peeves / rants is that the weapons used in modern fencing, especially saber, have mutated quite a bit from their origin, and I think the history of that weapon needs to be maintained. But the fighting style of a rigid saber is radically different than the fighting style of a modern flexing fencing saber, to the point that it gives a radically different set of techniques, different approaches. I think it's fascinating to see. So we're looking into that. And what's this Sarah says? Okay, Sarah, I thought it only meant cubic zirconia, whatever fake diamonds are called. Still been wide awake since yesterday morning. Sarah, I think if you feel unable to sleep much more, you will need to go to urgent care or seek medical attention, please. Because going long periods without sleep can be very dangerous for your mental health, and it can have very painful and lasting physical health issues. I am aware of it. I am a living embodiment of it. But we are coming up. It is the end of the year. I believe this might be my last. Is this my last broadcast of the year? No, I have one more. So Okay. Thank you, Thesis. I'll dig through that and see uh, how quality they have. I have a weapon similar to what they use that I acquired actually at a Goodwill, but it is not a light uh, LARP sword. I just have to do some additional repair to it. Um, okay. Sarah, if you're still having problems later, reach out to me, and if I'm still awake, I'll walk you through some techniques. Okay, that I've used, because Lord knows Sarah can get a hold of me. Now, with the end of this year coming up and the end of 5 years of doing this in different ways, I want to ask a few things of you, my friends. Firstly, are you guys doing your drills? Are you staying in training as best you can in the coming situations? Because instead of looking like it would be better to have got worked on physical health and training earlier, you can't do that because it doesn't give you anything. All you have is today. And a lot of people are going to be making life-changing decisions with the new year. And some of them will succeed, vast majority won't. Okay, thank you, Thesis. Type 6 arming sword in scabbard 119. So that is the sword pricing is a fascinating thing to me. Because the cost has been problematic, but been ongoing since the 9th. Okay. But you should be doing your drills. If you haven't, I'm not going to yell at you, but I'm going to say tonight's a good thing before you go to bed. Take your sword trainer, take an SSO, go through the drills. You guys know them. If you are, how's it coming? What are you having any issues? I want to be able to help folks grow and advance in their techniques. And right now, there is a whole lot of support being given in the chat. I'm not bringing it up because it is geared towards being in the chat. And that's the other great thing. Let's see. Thesis says, I do my sword drills every night, usually in between guitar practice and language lessons. Excellent. Excellent. You're keeping yourself as a well-rounded Renaissance man. And I think that is something we have lost. Can I? Maybe. There we go. We need to bring back studies. We need to bring back the concept of self-improvement, not necessarily for a particular financial good or external reason other than I want to broaden my horizons, both physically and mentally. And Cindy says much practice is happening every day because moving constantly means less overall ouch. I have learned that. It's something I have to balance with my assorted conditions. I have to move enough to not overdo it, but if I underdo it, it's a whole thing. And illness in the household that I've dealt with, and we'll say mostly recovered, has meant I haven't been able to do what I needed to do, so I'm hurting in other ways. But I am so glad. And Cindy, I am so proud and genuinely impressed with the growth you've had in your development and your pursuit of the martial arts. It's just incredible. Okay, so the only issue you have is your shoulder gets sore after the first round of cuts, So I will be doing something else for a bit, then come back and do a second set. Now, are you using the simple sword system, or are you doing knowing you, it's probably a Jin style, but you may want to look to see if there is an adaptation and get that shoulder checked if you have a chance. Because if it's starting to get sore through basic drills, you're going to have issues. And we want to get ahead of that whenever possible. For me, the more I move, the more I hurt. I do it anyways. There is a difference between surviving and living. And I want very much you guys to survive. But I need you to survive. I want you to live. Working on the mentality but means you took the word out of my mouth. Balance. That is what's needed in so many ways. Yes. And it all starts with breathing, guys. It all starts with just focusing on your breathing. I'm a victim of it, especially with this bug that I'm still fighting. The art of breathing and being present is something that we are not taught enough. And I think it needs focus. And we will do, if I can help, especially with breathing exercises, clarity. I don't know if you have room to do drills. I know your current situation is a little different, but if you do not have room or means, I will talk to you because you're relatively near. You're only an hour or so away. Well, where you're going to be. We'll see. If you need something to train with, I'm certain I can find or arrange something for you to train with. It's almost like I review gear to give it away, which I do quite frequently. I just have a bad habit of not talking about it because I was taught that when you were doing things like that, you don't talk about it. You just do it. Let's see. Now, I'm sorry, I got off. And, awesome, Cindy. And woot! Cindy has made amazing progress. I have never been more proud of someone who wasn't my student. Now I'm teaching the beginner class usually on Thursdays. That is amazing to hear, Cindy. I will tell you guys this. You could win just about any medal, any tournament. If you medal, I will keep that in reserve, because I'm still quietly rooting for Rex in a lot of ways, but it'll impress me. But when I find you're teaching it and you're passing what you know to others, that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yay! Way to go. Yep. And thanks, of course, dear friend. Difference between living and existing, living and thriving. Huge to work on right now. Right now, you are in a point of flux. You just need to survive and kind of let go of anything you can't control. And Cindy says, I test my current skill tomorrow. If I pass, which I have absolute faith that you will, I start officially studying the saber form. I've been unofficially studying it for a while as tournament prep. Yes! And good Lord willing and the roads don't freeze, I'll be competing at ICMAC again in June and the senior games in July. Rock on, Cindy. I love to hear it. It's like I know when Rex can do things. He takes part in different fencing tournaments, and sometimes I can make, I want to be able to make it to him. I just want to. I might be able to. Some, because Chicago's not too far from me. but it's always what Xander can, the Xander situation. But, and now my own health. Let's see, we got some new comments. And awesome work, warm fuzzies. Mostly use the Hanjin trainer for the Meyer and the Meyer Square website. I will do 4 rounds of thrust and cuts and wait and do 3 more rounds of random cuts. Okay. How are you loosening up before you do your drills? Because those of us who are of a certain age often need to do a bit of stretching and stuff before we do our actual drills to prevent damage. And if possible, especially if we are adding speed as an element, do some cool down. That might really help. But you can't. It's hard because I've had so many injuries that I've had to build back up from. Aging just feels like a very slow injury to me. Excuse me. Wow, I coughed hard enough to pop my back. The adapting we do for injury is just like the adapting we have to do for age. So be gentle with yourself and actually check your hydration. A lot of times people are not getting hydrated enough. And on point, Nichols, not a discussion for the show, just aiming to thrive. And yes, the last time I visited, it was a glorious mix of people and places. Relief. And Kitty says, I do my drills in the morning. Well, Kitty, you also are an incredibly active individual because of your occupation. So I will keep my mouth quite shut because you know more than me when it comes to dealing with the injuries and the experience of dance. And you will find, from my observations, that such many of those skills carry over into both rigid martial arts and thrown weapons, which is I put the rope dart that you do far more as a projectile style weapon than a weapon style weapon. Because I've a melee style weapon, that is. I've seen a lot of hit the target with it, but not a lot of I haven't seen any defense with it. So I don't know if you have any rope entanglement skills or techniques wrapped in it, because rope dart isn't necessarily in my bailiwick. I'd be fascinated to find out about it. I still think it would do very good for you to find at least some type of stick to train with, just to keep that in your back pocket. There are some techniques and things we can work on that will work very well with a light downstairs build. We've talked about it in the past. I think I'd like to continue doing that. I work burp with my chest whenever I'm going downstairs. Keep coughing and popping back. I'm sorry, Sarah. And good evening, folks. Hello, Joe. I hope you're having a good night. 5 years of the Historical Fencing Guild live stream so that we can stay in touch. It's wonderful that it's working. For me, I think night and most likely outside, since there isn't room to move around, but more focused at night in general. I'm the same way. There are some good reasons for it. I also find that if I can't sleep, going through a set of the drills, an extra set, helps, which is why I do my drills usually within a half hour before I go to bed, because it makes sure that my back is tightened back up, my I have to tighten places in my back to keep me in where I need to be, and loosen the other things before I can armor up for the night. And that's very it's good. It burns off some of that excess and lets me sleep much better. I've battled insomnia my whole life. Joe, evening grow, and okay, we've got a bot on Twitch, I believe, trying to sell me uh, something. We'll ignore that. But we appreciate the interaction, bot. And LOL, it happens often with going downstairs. And also as an empath, Sarah continues, everyone being peacefully asleep and calm, it's so soothing. And yep, that's a bot for sure. Okay, and yeah, the mentality behind learning to do what we do has benefits far beyond the simple self-preservation, physicality. I would hope a measure of athleticism and general health improvement. It begins to focus the mind, because when you are bringing your body in line, your mind will follow, and vice versa. It is very possible that YouTube. I haven't seen anything from you since I do my drills in the evening, so please try it again. And give me just 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to blow my nose, and it was going to be quite loud. So, yep, they feed on each other. But yeah, rope dart defense is mostly don't be there if there's some tangling actions that can be done if you're in the right position. So, I think we I think we need to work on some inline defense for you. And I'm thinking with a relatively short, relatively light weapon, somewhere between a wakizashi to a poniard, even. You basically need a very light small sword. And hate to say it, think needle. Think needle from Game of Thrones. Don't feel bad, Kitty. YouTube has been eating comments on the channel mods too. Yeah, that's why I feel like there's non sequitors going on. I am not skipping you guys' comments. It's just I'm not getting them. Mind body connection equals very real. That's what happened this month. And so what we have to do is ground both of them out. Oh, yes. Or a foil. A foil, yes. I quite like foils. And she did a Rondel dagger for quite. Rondel, see, defense, I guess. I don't know. Rondel dagger is very, very specific. And for Rondel dagger is very aggressive. It is very tangling. It is very specific. And by itself would lack the flow I would think a dancer's body would want. Because when you're picking a style, you have to pick a weapon. Okay, well, I'm going to Ollivander out for just a bit. But you have to pick a weapon that is sized for you. Okay, something else has popped at me. you have to pick a technique that moves the way you do, or can be manifested in such a way that it works for your attitude and your aggression levels. Rondel daggers are it is very straight, very aggressive. And because you can't adjust the grip, Rondel daggers very often force a masculine grip due to the nature of the weapon. And okay, this is my parry dagger from back when I was SCA. Railroad spike, yeah, this has to be retired. It has I believe, a bit of an S curve. No, I don't know. Maybe sitting still for a while did some correction to it. Oh wait. Well, anyway, the important part of that is this. This is I believe it's a type of disc brake pad that I used for years and years as my guard. And for people who don't know, a Rondel dagger would have another disc about like this, and it is locked in a hammer grip position. Now, Guy Windsor is an amazing author. Sorry, and yeah, it's like an extension to you, right? Of you, yes. The weapon it's cliche, but it should fit and it should move the way you do. My first trainer was a Purple Heart Rondel, which is a great Rondel, and the Guy Windsor book too. I still have the trainer and the book. Should be words and stuff. No, you're fine. It's there and it will live there, but the problem is it's very, very, very niche by itself. First off, Kitty, do you have access to the Simple Sword? My book. I need an answer to that, as well as possibly the sequel, the addendums, Simple Axe and Simple, the Fighting Axe and the Simple Spear. If not, let me know. Directly after this program, and digital Christmas gifts can probably happen. That way we're speaking the same language. And yes, sir, many times I'm doing the forms, I almost forgot that I have a weapon in my hand. Okay. Thesis has a copy that he could let me read. I know you and he are dramatically separate, so let me dig, and I will see if I can't get I'll see if I can't get some files to you. Okay? Yeah, reach out to me on Facebook after the show, and if I don't get it to you, in the next couple days, reach out. I think I can hook you up. At least with digital copies. I would do more, but unfortunately, due to the situations that are going on and some unexpected costs that might be coming down the pipe, I am even more tight than usual. And I can't believe I've remembered so much from my old roomies with swordsmanship. It's coming out for both your shows, Naked Blade. Whoa! Yes! No, seriously. Now I want to grab the Dark Elf trilogy nearby and read Driz Training. Dang. Zach Knifing is one of the most influential characters on me. And Artemis Interi, who shows up later in that series, I'm not sure how far you got. Artemis Interi and Driz heavily influenced me. My double sword is something I work on nightly, but my sword and dagger is something I feel is probably my best style. And you can go through and look. And I know you have access to my book, Sarah. And if you don't, good Lord. I've enjoyed having you in my shows, Sarah. My style is not everyone else's style, but I try to impart what I can. Can I suggest a book? Hey, book suggestions are always welcome. And in fact, I'll stay over a little bit to make sure that that gets across, because there may be someone in the chat who is watching and they want to learn something you have to say. So while we're doing that, I will recommend my books again. I want to put it, but I do seriously want to thank you guys. 5 years is a lot of work. It's actually longer than I've worked most jobs. And 25 years I'm coming up on of formally teaching people how to sword fight is wow. It's a huge chunk of my life. And just about everything good that has come to me has come through the sword. It can change your world. As a heads up, in the near future, health and technology permitting, I have been asked to go over certain things, both my improvised defensive tools, improvised self-defense weaponry course, threat assessment. I've had some requests for discussions in how line combat works, because a lot of people get confused with the weapon styles and their application. I want to revisit a lot of that. I have everything for my storage unit now. We have to get the years and years of dust off and get things cleaned up and arranged so that I can go to it, which is difficult because I am highly allergic to the dusts and things that are involved with that from, the cleanup. But I hope to be able to demonstrate some of the skills I haven't been able to show you guys in the coming year, including some leatherworking. We may even get to, if I can find all the pieces, some metalworking. How line combat works. Badly. Oh, that's funny. I won't bring it up, Cindy. Okay, there it is. I'm having some. My computer is attempting to update, and I am fighting it to be able to do tonight's broadcasts and what have you. So thank you for your patience. Yes, and yet it has modern applications and discussion. I need to do a little bit of a review for that, but people have asked me about it because I know at least one person wants to write about how riot control works. And many riot control techniques are based along surprising amounts of basic shield work. And we're going back to the Romans on this stuff for the really good stuff. So I am tempted to go into that and try to find some crossover. I think it will be a good discussion. I know there's been a request for me to redo the Fast and Dirty Guide to the Simple Sword. I am planning to hopefully secure space to do a full physical breakdown of the Simple Sword, modern drills, techniques with a colleague. I would optimally like to have Trelena be the one to do that, because I know I can have her 90 degrees of me, and I want to be able to show the techniques from different angles, because I've been told some people, they don't learn well, they can't mirror. So they either need to be alongside combat, whoever's teaching them, or they actually need to see a POV shot over the shoulder on how things should work. I want to do something that facilitates the drills from different views. It's going to be a very complex thing to make and an absolute beast to edit, as I'm going to have to learn new editing software at some point. But that is part of what I want to do in 2025. There are a couple new Pell designs I want to do, including the plan is to this spring make a very specific simple Pell for my wife. All the parts are in the garage, but we have to have so many days above freezing to make it so. So I want her to be able to get back into hitting things. It would be good for her. So there'll be a lot more crafting in the near future. I really need you guys to reach out. And this goes for the entire guild, digital and local. I need to know what you guys genuinely want me to cover. How can I be of service to you, my viewers, and my my colleagues? Because that's what we want to do. I am planning some very special things for my much neglected Patreon members. That's part of my things I want to get done at the beginning of 2025. I had planned to work on ads for my stuff, but one was made for me by my lovely friends, and as they've made it, I am going to actually run the ad for basically my books and everything else I do. So I will be back in, I don't know if I can from here. Hold on. Nope, give me a second. I am actually going to have to switch branding for just a moment. Sorry, Brian. So I can get down and run this ad. Sorry, it is a new one. God help me. Yes, that ad was made by the amazing Joe Bachman. He did some unique things with music compression. It really, my first description was, wow, that sounds like an epileptic seizure tastes. But at the time, I had a very high fever and was dehydrated with low blood sugar. Yeah, that was interesting. I know it. So I'm going to be doing some new things with ads, but there are too many people who only know segments of what I do. So I need to really work on crossing the streams a little better. It's an audio gradient. It's a something. But you know what? Folks love it, and I appreciate the stuff behind it, so I will use it as I can. I do want to remind everyone, check out woodenswords.com. They are a great purveyor of training weapons. And if you use !click equals 1745, I get a little bit of kickback if you buy anything. And more importantly, the folks over there know I'm sending folks. So when one of you goes, "Hey, I'd like this as a trainer," you can talk to them, and it has a little more weight. I actually have to. When I get money, I will talk to them. And Sarah says it's awesome. It cements into the mind of the ad one hearing it. So do use it. All right, folks. I've gone over an hour. Thank you for 5 years of coming together to talk swords and shenanigans. Uh, do your drills. Keep your eyes open. Be kind to yourself and each other. And as always, your friends, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. I will be back next week. Yeah, for another episode of the Historical Fencing Guild's live stream, and I will be over on the Nick Talkert channel doing what I do. No, doing the never mind the furthermore, as well as some other programming. I am way behind on my Nick Knows Nerf, and I'm way behind on some other planned things. So it's going to be good. Thank you for everything. I love you, and you should too, Toodles, folks.